Okay, so this is picking things up. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the
Good
UKBBL.
evening, Seba.
Okay,
How are you?
grand final. Good. Um, I'm going to mute the mic. I'm not very well today, so there's no webcam, and I am
And
coasting
to you
with
also, Farron.
Zunk and Bevan.
Frank, broccoli.
So this is season 30 grand final. I'll just quickly bring the two teams up. So we're playing against Skuld. He's playing Dark Elves, and he's going to use his 150k for a wizard.
This evening, as Andy is 100% focused on the matter at hand.
And this is a quick overview of my team.
Waldorf, a rare
1,
treat.
2, 3.
Goodness
Three
me,
monster
hello. McTushi, hello.
So, right, I'm now going to be literally muted, and I will pass over completely to my co-commentary
You folks
staff.
hear us okay? Morbid Orbits, hello.
They should be picking you up, gentlemen. I'm now going to mute the mic. So, stream, can you hear Zunk and Bevan?
I guess I better say something so they can check whether they can hear me or not.
Yeah, if they can hear me, they can hear you. Ah, no, they can't hear us.
Oh, apparently, now they can.
I don't understand how we're out of sync.
Oh, no, I've still got my requisite number of syncs. I don't know about you, don't.
Yeah, it's over here in the kitchen. I don't know what he's talking about. Modern technology.
Well, we don't have to worry about it tonight, as we are Andy-free for the evening, and we can be as rude as we like about him, which is no change from when I'm usually on.
Well, he's not very well, is he? So
He's not. I kind of feel sorry for him, and as much as Andy is the pantomime villain, you can't have a pantomime villain being ill because then you feel sorry for them.
it's all ruined.
It is. Well, it's going to be a cracking game, I think, Zach. And if it's anything like the Season 8 Champions ladder final, then we'll be in for an absolute cracker.
Can we top that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we do have some agility. Maybe we can have some saucy stuff going on at the end of the match. But the one thing we can be sure of, we've got two extremely good coaches. They're very different in their styles, but both very, very good. So I must admit, I was secretly hoping this was going to be the final right from the start of the season.
And so it is.
Yeah. Nothing to do with the fact I'm an admin.
No. Bulldog says nice to have the stream without Andy. Harsh.
I think Andy being ill is part of his pre-prepared excuse. Because he's already been working on the mind games, telling Robbo just before the game that he thinks Robbo's favourite. And we know Andy loves his mind games. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, Inarian did this on Sunday night. You know, he was full of, I can't win this now. I'm going to lose. They're all going to die. So, yeah, it's mind games, isn't it? What the hell? I've got weird views. What's that all about?
Yeah, definitely for commentary, going to be switching to the in-game one. Because if I try and commentate on the stream, I'll be commentating on things you've already seen.
Yeah, fixed it. Right, okay. This is the first time I've opened Blood Bowl 2 proper. Right, so we're playing at Frank's Frucht, which is Skuld's, I can't get used to calling him Skuld, Robbo Stadium. And he has got a sandwich kiosk, so no get the ref and no thrown rocks. Don't see that often.
Actually, it's my stadium of choice. Well, at least it was until Legendary was released, at which point it has changed. But I do like not having the throw the rock because the last thing you want is an annoying death of your star player due to some random rock.
Just having a look round Robbo's team. Strength lineman, strength blitzer, lots of diving tackle, though that's... Don't imagine Andy will be doing a great deal of dodging. And of course, we still have Deja Mu on the roster for Black Star Crusade. How long this is going to go on for, I don't know. Talk to him about it. He persists.
It seems that the new Blood Bowl client is giving me some freaky angle to watch the game from, and I don't know how to change it.
Yeah, I just had that. You go to settings, and then second option down is match camera. You want Blood Bowl 1.
Ah, that's better. Where would I be without you, Zunk?
Austria?
Well, yes, yeah, I guess you do actually have very little effect on where I am.
Right, so for Andy's team, Amin Yashed, diving tackle goat. I think he'll be working hard today. William Shakespeare, dirty goat. And it looks like Andy's got new cards. One of those is fame. And I don't know what the other one is. So it looks like, I think Robbo's got +1 fame. What's the other card? Any ideas? The one where it says naught for Andy? Cheering fans, perhaps?
You got me there.
Let's go with cheering fans. So key player Willie Stroker has now finally got Claw, which is jolly good news because he was massively missing that. Phil Graves, nice ball carrier, Bloodsure hands. Andy lost a Chaos Warrior a few weeks ago. Helicopter, the new lad who's eastmost as we look at it from Andy's point of view, still doesn't have guard. So this team, I would say in Andy's perception, very much not finished, though it does have some quality players. I think the two standouts for me are probably Macho Man, the Chaos Warrior with Claw, Mighty Blow, guard piling on, who's just piled on, and Willie Stroker, Killer Goat.
I've actually got a bit of a bug, and I'm going to have to reload this in because nothing's happening on my game, and I've got lots of gooey bugs. I really hope this is not going to affect our players, but I guess we shouldn't have been too surprised because it is Legendary Edition release day for those of you who've been under a rock.
Lil Baz asks, is this the last Blood Bowl 2 game as Legendary's out? It's the last UKBBL game of the season, though technically we are playing Legendary because we've got all the new quality of life upgrades. So in a way, yes, but in a way, no.
Certainly, there's no change for the perpetual leagues. I think that's the yardstick we can measure this one by.
Yeah.
Okay, this is looking a bit better. I've got less bugs.
Right, so you're okay.
Well, we'll see. This is cyanide.
I seem to be working okay so far. I'm just looking around trying to guess who the right elf is for Andy. Would you like to take a punt? Who do you think he'd score with, given the choice?
I honestly don't think he'll care at this point because of the importance of the game. This is one of the few times in the world that Andy will not care about who he scores with. He just wants to score.
All right, that's a little side bet. I bet he hands the ball off to the right elf rather than score the ball carrier.
All right, okay, I'll take that bet for you. I say that he doesn't do a stupid handoff just to get an SPP.
Just a bit of fun, but I bet he does.
So the early KO, and this is not what Robbo wanted to see, because this game very much could come down to numbers. If Robbo still has them towards the end of the game, he will be heavy favourite. If Andy removes early on, then it switches across, and there's another KO. So we're only on 2-1, and Robbo has already lost 2 players. Luckily, nothing permanent, but it's a concern.
You're right. I know Andy will be going, I want a casualty one, because the KO's always got the chance to come back. But he'll be quite happy just taking the numbers down, like you say. I guess Robbo does have something of a bench. He's running with 13 players. So we're really going to need to see Willie Stroker and the 2 killer warriors do some work here to really outnumber him, I think. But he'll certainly be trying.
Oh, that's a big one. We've got a failure on the pickup, and that could get things interesting straight away. It's a chance for Robbo to be hyper aggressive and go right into Andy's backfield, trying to put pressure on that ball. With a little bit of luck here, the blizzard may save Andy. I'm sure he didn't like the look of the weather at the start, but right at this point, it might actually be his saving grace.
Well, all the elves can get to the 10-yard line, which is 2 squares. Oh dear!
Oh, my favourite player's gone.
Oh dear! Well, that's a setback at this early stage. Diving tackle equipped. I'm in your shed.
Will
very likely
Robbo
to be a highly key player, possibly more so when the elves have the ball. So Andy will be hoping he wakes up. I don't think the elves will reach the ball here.
Oh, that was just what I was about to say. Big decision from Robbo. Do I take the go for it in the snow? And he decided, yes, it was worth it. It's cost him a reroll. Now he can't really afford, except for his last move, to do any go for it. It's just too risky. Although he does have sidestep over the ball now, which will be a concern for Andy.
Not only has he got sidestep over the ball, he's starting to close down options to blitz the guy as well. Andy's strength 4, so this is already something of a problem. Now Robbo's had to do some go for it to do this, but it's probably worth it.
Yes, I mean it's still a relatively easy job to get a 2-die blitz on him from here, but it's using more players than Andy would have been comfortable with. So Robbo really is committing here. And I like this. I like really strong, aggressive elf defense. There's far too many wussy column defenses out there and not enough get in your face, nick the ball and score.
So what do you think Andy's going to do? Who's going to be the blitzer?
I would expect the blitzer will be just grabbing a name. It will be Jason Waterfalls. Assist provided by Phil Graves to get it all the way up. Because Waterfalls can do this with only moving his maximum to do the blitz. He doesn't have to go for it. He's got the tackle and the mighty blown claw, which is what you need on this hit. And obviously with his horns, that's enough to put him to strength 4, and just the 1 assist is enough for the 2-die. Although Robbo's doing a lovely move here. I like this. Very aggressive.
Very annoying. I think you're right, because Jason Waterfalls is viably the only one of the 2 tackle goats that can reach. The problem is really the assist. But if Phil Graves lends him the assist, who's going to pick up the ball?
I don't think he picks up the ball. I think he stands players over the ball for this turn. This isn't a position where you can recover that ball easily and then get it safe. What you're better doing is trying to shield the ball, move as many players back as possible to start forming a defense, and just concentrate on making sure that Robbo can't pick the ball up the following turn easily.
I think you're right. He won't be happy, though. Oh, that was very cooperative of Deja Mu there.
Yeah, I think Moo realising big game, time for the big player to put in a big performance, and so far he's moved. That's a big performance from Moo.
Well, he's a good boy. I'm not a fan. I just said to Andy many times, get rid. But he's rolled blocks since then, which makes him less of a liability. But the problem that Andy's seen is exactly as we've predicted, that the 2 killer goats would have been much more developed if Moo wasn't there, because he steals so many of the blitzers that Willie Stroker is just about there, but he's just hit 76 last week. Jason Watfall's still only on 36 points, and he really needs 51/76 to be the full 9 yards killer goat.
Here's a question that the stream might be able to answer here, because I know this came up before, but never heard a confirmed answer. On the blitz, does Horns incorrectly add for break tackle? So if you gave Moo break tackle on a blitz, would he actually have strength 6 break tackle because of his horns? How does Cyanide deal with it? And if anyone knows for definite, that would be interesting to know, because I think that significantly changes whether Moo is useful or not.
I always assumed it didn't. I never really thought about it, if I'm honest. Most of the streams seem to be thinking, no, it doesn't as well.
Yeah, see, as I know it shouldn't, but there was some definite discussion a while back saying that actually it was coded badly and it was having an effect, and though it shouldn't have done. But I never had it confirmed either way, whether that was actually true or just somebody having a bit of an error.
Oh, hello. Now, this is not what we predicted. So, what's he going to do now?
Well, it's partly what we predicted. He's trying to make it as difficult as possible to pick the ball up, but what he's doing is doing this without hitting the sidestepper and saying, okay, you can keep your sidestepper there this turn. I'm actually going to go and hit some other players. And I quite like that, actually. It's a sneaky way of doing it from Andy.
He's going to need a bit of guarding. Oh, that's handy.
He's getting those KOs. That's 3 out for Robbo now.
He's going to need a bit of guarding to give Willie Stroker a hand there, because at the moment he's just going to get punched by Benane, the big steroid blitzer.
Well, maybe, but then I don't think Andy's unhappy, because if he punches Willie Stroker, he's not doing anything useful towards the ball.
This is true.
Giving the rest of the team time to get back and be helpful.
With the low amount of guard Black Star Crusade have for a KS team, I think that really hammers home how much of an advantage the strength 4 blitzers have. If there was 5 guard on the team, you'd just try and swamp them and beat them up and pick them off. But I don't think Andy's got quite enough to do that.
No, I mean, those strength 4 ones that Robbo's fielding, they are strong players. Oh, no. Andy's completely turning us into know-nothings because he tried to pick the ball up.
And do you notice helicopter is the right elf? I don't know if we can actually resolve our bet with that, because that was also expeditious, just because a handoff away from there means that Benane, the big brutal elf, is no longer next to the ball.
Yes, it is a tricky one, because it's the I'm not sure you could call helicopter the right elf, but maybe the right elf, but certainly the guy in the right position.
He definitely wants to score with it.
It has, however, cost him a reroll, and in a blizzard, those rerolls become even more valuable.
Did Robbo start with 4 rerolls and then get 1 from the kickoff? Because he had 5 when we began.
You know, I'm not entirely sure. I have a feeling that Robbo's team is bugged on rerolls because I know certainly one of his teams, and it might be this one, seems to miraculously get extra rerolls from nowhere for no apparent reason that we can work out.
We've seen that before.
No, it's a totally unique thing. And
so how do you legislate against that then? Hello, Odyssey.
I don't think you can. It's just one of those bizarre things.
That sucks for his opponents, doesn't it?
It does, but it might not be the case with this one. Maybe it wasn't this team, but I haven't been tracking Robbo's rerolls, so I don't know how many he actually has on the team sheet.
Yes, and unfortunately we didn't get to preview the teams beforehand. Well, I think considering the position that Robbo put Andy in, that solution that was quite elegant, wasn't it?
I think it was overly risky, personally. I was very surprised that Andy did it because you were picking up in the tackle zone. I mean, this was not an easy pickup, even with sure hands. And then you're handing off, and this is all on our G3. So, yeah, I think Andy was a little bit lucky to get away with it. But in the position he's put himself in, very nice.
Noamto's just checked for us. Robbo officially has 3 rerolls and a leader. So, and there was a kickoff result. It's brilliant coaching. So yeah, 5 was correct.
Okay. In that case, this was not the bug team.
Thank you, folks. Clears that up for us. There feels a lot more than 8 elves on the pitch, doesn't there?
Yes, and I think there's a reason for that. They're positioned well. He's got them just where they're needed at the moment. Whereas I think Andy's a little, not through any fault of his own, just simply from the way that it developed with the failed pickup at the start, is a little bit more spread around the place. Whereas Robbo's got a nice little arc around the ball.
He does. What I'm expecting Andy to do here is probably blitz Ananas, the witch elf, which apparently means banana, which is an odd name for a witch elf, but there you go. I think he'll punch her out the way and then look to run through the hole and set up the cage on the halfway line there.
It's certainly one possible call, and I think I'd rather be punching out the move busted guy lineman who's only got dodge, simply because if you do that with a block piece, the problem with hitting the witch elf is she's got wrestle, and you're starting to roadblock yourself if you go that way. You got more chance, especially if you use a tackle piece. Just knock out that lineman out of the way and create exactly the same hole with less risk.
Just laughing at the chat. Ananas is in fact pineapple, not banana. Hey, close, right?
Yeah, I could have told you that, but I wasn't going to sort of display your ignorance to the
It was some sort of fruit. Well, it's not the sort of thing you really come across, is it? I mean, bananas are bananas.
Depends whether you live in a country that speaks a different language. Oh, and interesting. He's chosen not to. He's going for the high value fruit. He's decided that Robbo's Blitzer is that important that he really wants to kill it. And he's managed to stun. And is he going to be tempted into fouling? And the piling on's failed.
Be disappointed by that.
I think Andy's rattled, to be honest. And you don't normally see Andy go for a play like that. Normally far more tactical rather than simple attrition kill opposition best player. It's pressure can get to everyone, and this is a big game.
You're reading too much into it, old son. Honestly.
Maybe.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Apparently, Franz Frucht means French fruit. So that is why all the elves are called fruit-based names. Pipal had some lizards that were all fruit, didn't he?
I do not recall. It's very possible.
Yeah, he had Plum the skink. Plum the skink? This is an OCC team. I think they might have been OCC champions at one stage. Hello, Hellboy. How you doing, mate? Onigoku, hello, bud.
The next pitch removal will be interesting. If it comes for the Dark Elves, they manage to get one of the Chaos pieces off. It's going to start looking very interesting. But I think if another elf goes, that's going to make it increasingly difficult. And as Andy, I know, has said many times on the stream, it really is increasing returns. Once you start knocking them out, the next one becomes even more valuable, and so on. So it's like falling off the proverbial cliff. But the elves with 8 players, that's still fine. Oh, that's a horrible failed dodge.
It is. Now Andy's presented with 2 relatively high-value targets on the floor.
He is. Do you think he'd be tempted?
Doesn't have a bribe.
And also he'll be out of position. If he goes for the foul here, he's going to be largely out of position. It is turn 4. It is a blizzard. It's not so easy to shift this ball downfield quickly.
Given that Willie Shakespeare's just moved, the Dirty Goat, I think you're probably right that he's going to skip it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he was also miles out of position. He couldn't have done this with the Dirty Goat. It would be a normal one. But let's see whether he can resist the urge to stick the boot in.
I think he'll be mindful that he's already a player down and probably won't.
I think smart money agrees with you.
Yeah, it's strange when you see an elf team with 2 strength players. You normally, typically, on an elf team, there'll be the agility 5 elf that will come and do annoying stuff. But this is a different proposition.
Yeah, it's a very good team. And if I recall, Robbo actually had more strength ups than this, and some of them got twatted. And the team used to be nastier than it currently is. But it's still a very useful team. And anyone who's ever played with Agi 4 Strength 4 players knows just how valuable they are.
It's very annoying.
Depends on your point of view, really. When you've got them, they're lovely. When you're against them, they're annoying.
I'm wondering if we're going to see Deja Vu blitz here, partly because Willie's on the floor and is out of range of pretty much everybody without a go for it, and partly because if we don't, Deja Vu might just stand where he is. Let's see.
Yeah, I suspect that the blitz will be pretty much the last thing that Andy does, and I think you're probably right. It is the best way to move Deja Vu. Oh, there's another piling on there.
Yeah, that's the danger of the piling ons, that if they don't work. Oh, okay. Block on move, doing a thing. If they don't work, you're on the deck and you haven't achieved killing the elf Zunk stated rather obviously, but you get what I mean. It's always that dilemma. Do I do it? And it's a high value target, so you think, yes, I do. And then it doesn't work, and it's all ruined.
I think what we could see here, and I hope we do, because I love these things, is a leaping witch elf uphill block.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Andy loves those.
I would certainly be up for it in this, because those witch elves are set up to do this. When you take them with wrestle, that's what you're looking to do. And it's only up against a ball carrier with block. Now, even if you fail to get him down, as long as you avoid the skulls, at worst, you can have this guy on the sideline. But no, sadly, Robbo's going for the low-hanging fruit. Maybe sensibly, but it is a bit boring.
He's being quite cautious. I mean, you've got Ananas, witch elf on the halfway line there, that with wrestle and strip ball. So that's clearly her job. So I think we'll definitely see it. Unfortunately, what seems to now be happening is that we've got an elf screen forming up. Oh,
Yes.
Robbo. We had such high hopes.
Dull but effective. And okay, this is the final. Fair enough. Maybe we shouldn't be so critical for boring moves. But yeah, looking at it from Robbo's point of view, he knows Andy's only got 5 turns. It's a blizzard. All he's got to do is hold him up. And he's got enough elves at the moment to do that. I actually kind of like Robbo's position, as long as he doesn't lose any more players in the next couple of turns.
Yeah, that's the key thing for Andy. That Robbo's got just enough. Oh, Moo, being very well behaved. Robbo's got just enough elves to still effectively screen. I think another one, and that starts to crumble.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about Robbo's screen is the fact that he had that witch elf and the runner in the order they've got it, allowing Moo and William Shakespeare to get into the positions they are. I'd have liked to have seen that outer side of the column defense level with the centerpiece of the column, so that Andy couldn't have done what he's done.
Was one of them already there because that was as far as you could get? Because I think he would have.
I think the runner, it was the witch elf who could have gone and stood further forwards, and I think Robbo went for protecting the witch elf and the blitz rather than putting in strategically the better situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one you've already picked out, the one to watch. It's Ananas is the player who can turn this, and it's probably going to be with an uphill. And the thing is, once you know you're going to do uphills, it's really important to remember it doesn't matter whether it's your strength 3 against strength 4 or strength 5 or strength 6. It's only when it gets up to strength 7 it matters. So if you're prepared to take on the uphill block, don't worry about the number of guard pieces, etc. around unless it takes you up to strength 7. Just get in there and do it. And if you're not going to do it, why have you built a piece to do it?
Andy really wants this Pyleon to work. I like where he's pushed Moo.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
No, he hasn't broken armor. He may not pile on here.
Well, I don't think he should. I don't think it's worth going in. Oh, he has. And he's got a stun. I'm kind of surprised at that.
I hear what you're saying, but I know I know Andy will be foaming at the mouth to reduce Elven numbers, and absolutely the most likely way he's going to do it is that. So he's sticking with a trump card and hammering it.
Well, so long as he now sets up his protection on the ball carrier that doesn't rely on where that player was standing. But I mean, if you look at where he's placing the ball, having that player there was really nice to have him standing up. I'm not sure it's worth the risk, but we'll see. I guess had he not done it, there was the potential for Robbo to stand up the player and go for the dodge into 3 tackle zones, which with an elf with dodges, it still can come off and maybe get the 1-die block. But even then, he's probably not going to be able to get a 1-die, even though it's his strength player. He wouldn't be able to get an assist in. So, yeah, I think overall I wouldn't have piled, personally. Horses for courses.
He needs more elves off the pitch, and I think be very conscious that so far we've had no little red crosses. So once he got the opportunity to get some, he's going to keep trying.
I'm not sure he does need the elves off the pitch. I think all he needs is to score on turn 8. And it's not so easy for the elves to score a 1-turner, especially not if this weather doesn't change. He goes in 1-0 up at half-time. He can force Robbo to score quickly by beating players up. And then he's got the ball and control in the second half, the classic 2-1 grind.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Hellboy, good evening. No, it is not Simon Pegg with me in the geometry booth. It is my good friend Bevan, who is a UKBBL admin and well-known personality. So he's given us a hand to cast this, as Andy's not very well. Plus, he's focusing completely on trying to beat Robbo's elves. Taking names. Hello, mate. Dagon, welcome aboard. Yeah, Frank points out we haven't really talked about the wizard very much, but that is lurking around.
It is very true.
Hello.
Oh, there's the flying we love to see. And what is going to happen?
Skill, please, Bob. Oh, dear.
It's the big shove. Robbo's gone for the gamble at precisely the right time. Now it's down to how does this ball go? Oh, Andy is going to fume. Oh, look at that.
He's not going to be happy with that.
Well, I mean, Robbo won't be happy that the witch elf grabbed the ball and held on to it, but yeah, it's lovely play from the witch.
Only slight problem she's got is that she's now in a tackle zone of a tackle player.
Yes, and can't afford to take the risk on the dodge out because he's used the reroll for this turn. And he's got to assume that Andy takes the ball carrier down next turn. How do I position my players to make sure that Andy is going to have as difficult a time recovering the ball? Because all Robbo needs to concentrate on is not letting Andy score this half. If Andy doesn't score, he is in big trouble for the second half.
Yeah, Robbo's also got this dilemma. Does he bring players back like he is, or does he pressure the guys around the ball to try and preclude them from helping in the recovery? And he's kind of gone for a middle ground here.
Yeah, I mean, the tricky thing about it is you just don't know where that ball's going to scatter when the ball carrier goes down. And he's going to get at least 2 shots at that ball carrier. And
well, he
is,
but ideally he wants to push him northwest rather than northeast. And that's why I'm wondering if the opening block's going to be Mo Lester and then Willie Stroker, but maybe not. No, he's really got to do it with Jason Waterfalls first, doesn't he?
I would actually say no. I would say it's a blitz with helicopter. Pushing then across, allowing Mo Lester to take a hit. If Mo Lester fails, it allows Jason Waterfalls to take a hit. And if that fails, you're now pushing them down into Phil Graves and Major Lee Small. And at some point, that Witch Elf is going down.
You're probably right.
The question is Andy raging too much to spot that? Because we know he's not going to be happy.
No, he won't be raging. Might whine a bit, but it rarely impacts decision making, I think.
It's a funny old game, as they say. And now that is a nice move from Robbo. I think Robbo saw that was a possibility, and by moving Frambois up there, he turned it into a one-die block. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, my mistake. In that case, yeah, it was shit. Why'd you do that for, Robbo?
Though Andy hasn't done what you speculated.
He hasn't. No.
I think what he'll do is, if he gets pushes like this, it's now play tennis that he's going to then push him west, and so he's going to do that method instead. But he's got another 4 blocks here.
It's the same principle, but with slightly different locations and different players. It's the idea he wants to maximise his number of blocks. I actually prefer the way Andy's done it, because he saved the blitz. So it was better than what I was suggesting. Now this ball scatter is going to be important. Oh, that's a kick in the teeth for Robbo. All that lovely work, and Andy spawns one.
But still has a wizard.
Still has a wizard. It is turn 6, and Andy, if he goes forwards now, is doing it unsupported. He's only got Deja Mu, Doug Graves, and Major Lee Small, who can really get anywhere near forwards. And he can still move Jason Waterfalls from the back, but he can't get them that far downfield. And he's only got 2 turns after this. So is he going to commit and go for it? Or is he going to turtle up and just say, I really don't want Robbo to score? I think he has to commit. I don't know what you think, son. Would you be going forwards here, or would you be trying to consolidate the ball carrier around about where your players are?
I think he'll step Major Lee Small, the killer warrior, forward 1 pace. The ball goes forward 2 and east 1, and forms a cage just there, I'm guessing.
When you say east, are you looking from behind Andy or behind Robbo? Because I'm behind Robbo.
I'm from behind Andy.
So east-west. I see what you mean.
Switch view, we need to look at the same, because otherwise it gets meaningless. I'm also wondering who's going to blitz with. I'm guessing it's going to either... I mean, the obvious choice is Jason Waterfalls as a killer goat, but he does have Doug Graves, Frenzy Goat. So if he wants to push some folks out the way, those 2 elves up by Moo both got sidesteps, so that's not going to work.
Absolutely. He's only really got, if he was doing that, the move busted lineman as a target, and I can't see that there's really any value in going for that. I think he's trying to make it as difficult as possible to get that diving tackler out, which is probably a wise move. Oh, blitz coming from the major. No follow-up from Andy, so he wants to reposition.
Yeah, he's going to put the ball pretty much where I was talking about, north 2, east 1, I think. And then Jason Waterfalls comes around the back to reform the elongated cage.
I guess he's got that.
I
think he's a bit concerned about running out of time, and I think rightly he needs to be worried about that.
a different plan.
It is. I'm just not sure I like it.
I think it's. I think it'd be all right. You've still got witch leaping. The only thing really I think that's a danger is if Phil Groves gets lightning bolted, and then a witch leaps in. But you see, Robbo's got no agility 5, and so these are 3+ dodges.
But if you take Avocat, he can. The tricky dodge is the first one. It's dodge into 1 tackle zone. It's not a problem with Elves, and he's not under tackle. He can bring him round for an assist and then simply leap the witch for a 2 die.
He is, mate. Willie Stroker's next to him.
Where?
We're talking about the witch. Who
No,
are you talking about?
we're talking about Avocat, the blitzer. He's only got Moo and Doug Graves next to him.
Right, okay, that's the one you mean.
He can get out of there quite easily, and then the witch leaps, which it doesn't matter if you're in tackle because dodge has no effect on the leap. So if he went for that, he could get 2 die. And he's just about got the movement to get 2 die on the frenzy, so it'll be 2 die on both. Not sure if that's what he's intending to do, but it is a possibility.
Too many elves. But to do any of this stuff does involve Robbo rolling some dice, so we will see.
It certainly does. It's finely poised at the moment. I like it. I don't think you should be afraid of doing a dodge into a tackle zone with Elves with dodge. But on the other hand, if it fails, the 1 in 9, that's pretty much it for this drive. Andy's going to score unless you burn your wizard. Oh, he went for the risky. Why did you do that, Robbo? You're in a worse position, and it was a more difficult set of dodges. Oh, pressure getting to them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and doing it this way. Oh,
nightmare.
It's all gone wrong.
He's probably going to Apo her.
It's all gone horribly wrong.
Well, the elven doctor's on form, but yes, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've seen an actual mistake. Because
yeah, could have done that better.
Yes, Robbo could have done it with less risk on the dodge and had the player directly in front of Phil Graves rather than on the angle. And yeah, but it is a big pressure game. I mean, mistakes are to be expected.
No, I was asking where you were recommending he dodged. What can you describe the path?
Certainly. So he was standing with Moo and Doug Graves. He goes next to Doug Graves on the outside, and then one more. So that's movement 2, and he's now diagonally away. So next to where Banan is standing. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 puts him in front of Phil Graves. So he ends up with the 3+ dodge with reroll, 2+ dodge with reroll, and finishes the move there.
So from where he stood, head northeast instead of northwest.
Yes. Now, his one saving grace, and it's a small saving grace, is that at least it went wrong after you got a sidestepper onto the ball carrier. It shouldn't be too difficult for Andy to deal with this, but you never know with Nuffle. Some bad rolls and it can all suddenly twist back round again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly what Andy does to get rid of sidestepping elf. Of course, that elf doesn't have block. So whilst... Oh, yes, he does. Sorry, since new Blood Bowl 2 format fooling me there.
It's only a push, and he's not going to be happy with that.
No, it was good enough. Gets him away from Phil Graves.
It does, but it now means Phil would have to double go for it if he wanted to go in the end zone. I can't see him doing that anyway, but it does mean it burns an extra movement point because he can't just go northeast or northwest. You then run into the tackle zone. Plus, the guy is still up and a danger for next turn.
I think he'll advance Jason Waterfalls and either mark him or the strength lad.
Now, am I right that Robbo didn't stand up Ananas last time, that he actually did his risky stuff before, or was Ananas stunned? I honestly can't remember on why we have that witch elf lying on the ground.
Neither can I.
I've got a sneaking suspicion Robbo just forgot to stand the witch elf up last time.
You may be right. I see. That's 0 for 3 on piling ons.
But Moo's done a big hit here.
Elves holding up well to the punishment, though.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a source of frustration. That Andy's block dice are pretty decent, but the armor casualty, it's not happening.
Yeah, and Andy can't really afford to block on Banan as well, because with the frenzy piece and the fact it's next to the ball carrier, he could get in all sorts of trouble. So, yeah, he has to leave him just standing there.
Yeah.
And I mean, Robbo's got the world's easiest one die, which I think he will probably take. And then we'll be following up with the sidestepping diving tackler, who's going to be the guy doing the blitzing.
One of those two.
I think the guy by Moo makes sense, because you want to keep. In fact, you can just go and block him into it if you really wanted to.
See, this not having guard on Major League Small is absolutely killing him. Oh. If he follows
nice.
2 dice now. Very elegant.
Put him into the strength 4 guy. That is very nice. And a follow-up now, 2 sidestepping diving tacklers. There he goes. He's down. Where's the ball going? Oh, that's not nice for Robbo. Pretty good for Andy. It's away from the sidestepping diving tacklers.
Well, Andy's got a new problem that it's not really got an ideal scoring threat at the moment. Major League Small needs to go for it. Jason Waterfalls marked by 2 sidesteppers, both of whom have diving tackle.
It's tricky, isn't it? I think we're going to be seeing some definite tiptoe through the snowy tulips, taking a risk at falling over on a 3+.
White Rabbit, good evening. Yes, Gruff is correct. Andy is both poorly sick and concentrating. Yeah, this isn't a brilliant position for Andy. It's Robbo's pressure, also compounded by Andy's efforts with the piling on have yielded diddly squat. Oh, that was bold.
Oh,
Do you know the pitcher's done arguably as much damage to the Elves as Andy has?
yeah, and
right.
But it's moved the ball next to a diving tackle sidestepper. Now Andy does have to worry about that.
Well, he's got a problem
Even
here because
more.
traditionally, to shift a sidestepper, given that none of Andy's players yet have grab, he'd look to fill in squares. But the ball's in one of the squares, and he can't fill that in. So what's he going to do now?
I think swear a lot and possibly pound his mouse, because this is really not a nice situation.
It's not, is it?
And I think in the end, you have to just forget how bad the situation is and blitz with Majorly Small. Hope like hell that you manage to get the guy down and put Majorly Small in the end zone, and then you're just going to have to pick it up and throw it. I don't see you've got many other choices here. You can't afford to dodge out Jason Waterfalls. And you're going to be very, very lucky if you can get both those sidesteppers down.
See, he might blitz with Moo just to get the 3 dice frenzy effect. So that'll be strength 6, 7. Yeah, you'll get 3 dice on the northwestmost elf Avacat with Moo.
3 dice on the first, yeah. And at least that would free up Majorly Small, but that does mean he's committing to passing to Majorly Small. At least he wouldn't have to do it. He wouldn't have to move Small into the end zone then from the blitz. He could do the shorter pass and then simply run the guy down. So I kind of like what you're saying there. The only
he could actually do it with a handoff. The hard bit of this is, first of all, that's a blood sidestepping blitzer. So even with 3 dice and frenzy, it's not brilliant odds to get him down. But the real fly in the ointment is, I suspect we're going to need William Shakespeare, Dirty Goat, to pick the ball up.
Yeah, here we go. And yeah. Oh, it's gone well. It's gone well for Andy. He's got it away from the side diving tacklers.
He's knocked him over as well.
And he's knocked him over.
Almighty blow hit. So, come on, Moo, kill it.
He's Robbo sent. That ball scatter's just not working in Robbo's favour. Now it's looking a little bit more possible for Andy. Because previously he was going to be forced to throw, because having used the blitz, you were going to have to pick up in against diving tackle, and so you have to throw at that point. Now he doesn't. He can start looking, can he engineer a situation to get Jason Waterfalls free and get the ball to him? Oh no, double skull.
That's not the dice you're looking for.
It's not, but it's a smart block. He's not gone for the obvious scorer. He's going for scoring with Doug.
I think you're right.
Doug, who needs a go for it, and
we'll need either a pass or go for it to hand the ball to Doug as well.
Yep. So we're going to be looking here at probably a 3+ pass. Followed by a 3+ catch.
Do I get my bet?
Go for it in the snow. No, because I'm pretty sure that Doug Graves is not the right. Well, I suppose ironically he would be the right elf.
This is all part of the plan, right from kickoff. This was the plan.
It was his plan to get in a complete mess and then extract himself by blitzing with Moo in order to get Doug Graves free.
Hey, look, you still got to pick up the ball and throw it, which without a reroll,
it ain't happening. Bop. There it is on the floor. Andy is not going to be a happy man.
Especially as we've still got no casualty delves. I mean, there's 4 KOs, but there's 3 also on the bench. I think one of them's the Apoed Witch. So,
4? Did you say 3? There are 4 KO'd Elves.
There's 4 KO'd Elves, but 3 also on the bench. Two subs and the
Yeah.
Witch.
See what you mean. And yeah, it's those KO rolls are going to be critical. In that respect, it slightly softens the blow of not scoring, simply because there's only going to be one chance to get the KOs back. If they all come back, though, then that softening just did not happen. Turned into a bit of a rock.
Well, he needs 2 of them to come back to have the full 11. And those are not the best Elves by any means. The only, well, I suppose the Orange, the Blitzer, and the Strength linemen are probably quite valuable. Yeah, just checking there's no way you can score. So 0-0 at half time is going to be then.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Predator Jet, there's no one in the Cas box because Elves, and it's not fair. We've had 3 piling on. Claw Mighty Blow hits. We've had multiple Claw Mighty Blow knockdowns, and the best we've managed to come up with is 1 casualty that was actually the elf falling on the floor, and that got appoed. So that's definitely a factor that Andy's going to be grinding his teeth about this lack of casualties.
yeah, from a neutral perspective, I kind of like that, because there's nothing more boring than a match being decided by the opposition running out of players. It's fun to see people injured, but not to see games entirely decided by who removes the most. I think with more players on the pitch, you get more room for strategy, more room for tactics, more room for positional mistakes. It's much more exciting Blood Bowl.
It is, but the same. Oh, only 1 back.
1 back? It's 2 back, isn't it? There's only 2 elves out now.
Do you know, this seems subtly different. Yes, you're right, it is too. Some of the Witch too. Okay, you got the good Witch and a Chuff lineman, so Blodge Sidestep Blitz is still out. So Robbo does indeed have 11 Elves and still got the Wizard. I think this is looking quite good for Robbo at the moment.
Yes. And the strategic decision Robbo has to make now, when does he want to score? Does he want to put a touchdown on early, get the score on the board, and then save the Wizard for turning Andy over on the drive, either to go 2-0 up or just simply to stop Andy scoring? Personally, I would go for that. I'd be trying not to use the Wizard. I would be trying to score as early as convenient. I mean, if I can stall a bit, great. But I would certainly be trying to get players deep, get in and score early, and have that threat for the Wizard, and look for the turnover on defense. I think not doing it that way and popping the Wizard too early means that you've lost the threat of it, which has been said many times through the season on the excellent stream that you guys provide, that the threat of the Wizard is just as good as the Wizard's actual action itself. So when you can, keep that Wizard in your pocket as long as possible.
And I think with 11 Elves on the pitch, unless something goes horribly wrong for Robbo, you won't necessarily need the Wizard to score. The good news for Andy is that Amin Yashad's back, which will help.
Yeah, critical player. My favourite player on Andy's team, always has been, in all his incarnations. But
they're incredibly useful on a diving tackle go. The problem is that you need to get them to 51 points to be really useful, and they don't naturally accumulate star play points. You've got to feed him touchdowns. But he needs tackle next, and then finally stand firm and prehensile tail in that order. Without tackle, a dodge piece has still got a pretty good chance of getting away. With tackle, you're looking much better. Yes, did see the Andy and Robbo discussing the chat. Apparently inducements have changed. That they're a little more like Blood Bowl 1 now, Bev, that the higher TV gets to spend their bank first. And what we think is happening is that then whatever the high TV coach spends, that's then gifted in kind to the underdogs pot, rather like Blood Bowl 1.
Really?
That's what the chat and Andy and Robbo are speculating. They're not sure.
Well, as Andy and Robbo have been through this process, wouldn't they have figured this out?
Well, no, it's the first time they've played Blood Bowl 2, isn't it? Legendary.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, when you were saying they were speculating, I guess their speculation is over. They just haven't told us the results.
I can't see the chat at the moment. Gruff's quoted what the forums say. Tweaked the inducement system. Cash spent by the overdog, bringing the team below the 150k limit, is given to the underdog. Right, and so the long and short of it is, it's enabled Robbo to have a babe and a wizard, because Andy threw in some cash for a babe, I guess.
And hello to Anarian, man of the moment. Nice to see you in the stream, and lovely game yesterday. Really enjoyed it.
Hello, Anarian. Yeah, that's. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's bad news if you're the overdog, I guess. Well, look, Joe, good evening. Good to see you, buddy. So one of the things I'm not crazy about, but it's only because it particularly affects the teams I prefer playing. It is the bank rule that typically strength teams will start accumulating cash as they don't tend to lose players as quickly. Reach a critical mass of probably 1 million-ish, bit more maybe, bit less maybe. And then if they lose, they lose players, it starts to shrink, and also the spiraling expenses kick in real hard. But I'm not quite sure how long term that's going to fare. It's going to be tough at real high TV to keep it going.
I have a feeling that my new beloved Kislev team is going to hate the bank. It's an expensive team that breaks. Where I'm going to find the money to replace things, especially when I hit spiraling expenses ludicrously early. That could be a bad thing, among many bad things for Kislev.
I can see Kislev being potentially useful, but I think you might need a few stat increases to really get them to rock and roll. And you're right that they are fragile. So long term, don't know, see how it pans out.
I'm really looking forward to them, don't get me wrong. I'm delighted to have them there. Not only my favourite part of the Warhammer lore, but also a team that all comes with Leap. And anyone who's seen my Elves knows what I think about Leap.
Leap's very good. You just agility 3 long legs Leap is a bit hairy. Oh, we've got a question in the chat. White Rabbit asks, playing first couple of games, new to the game, what skills do you want on Black Orcs and Orc Blitzers? That's pretty easy. Black Orcs, block and guard are the two key skills. Mighty Blow and Stand Firm don't hurt at all, but I would certainly take block and guard, probably in that order. Blitzers, you got a bit of a mixture. Guard is never wrong. You want at least one with Mighty Blow, arguably two. You need at least one with Tackle. In what order you build those, really up to you. But eventually, all four of them want want Guard, Tackle, Mighty Blow in some order or other.
What he just said, exactly.
Arguably, you can build one as a ball carrier and forgo a thrower. That is also a thing. whether you want to do it, the drawback of that is that you lose one of your blitzers as he stops being a killer enforcer piece and starts becoming a big girly ball carrier.
And for my Orc team, I do have the Blitzer as the ball carrier, and his first skill was Sure Hands. His second skill was Mighty Blow. So he still gets in there and does the punching stuff too. But the most essential thing for any Orc team is 4 goblins and a troll. If you're not having 4 goblins and a troll, you're doing it wrong. It's that simple. There's no discussion on this one, so there really isn't. It's Orcs were built to help the goblins get downfield and score touchdowns. It's that simple. And there's none of this namby-pamby stand around and just punch people, walk slowly forwards. You need to be getting out there, throw into the gobbos, sneaking them through the line with that lovely stunty, allowing you to just waltz through the enemy's line. They're wonderful.
There are more than one ways to skin the cat. You can take the thrower as a ball carrier and see if he gets a stat increase. That's viable. A lot of people don't like the throwers because they're slow and armor 8, which I get, but they do come with Sure Hands and they're not very expensive. Goblins, yeah, I'd probably have 1, maybe.
I think no. To be fair, and for those players who are new to the game, that is what I run as an Orc team. I do run 4 goblins and do an awful lot with them, but it is not the standard. The Orc team that's the standard fare is exactly what Zung's describing. However, if you're going to take the troll, which a lot of players say yes, good idea, cheap, star player, surprisingly useful,
Resilient.
It gives you the 1 turn option. You've always got a 1 turn option. Okay, it's not easy to do the 1 turn, throw goblin downfield and score, but it is always a threat. And much like the wizard, just having the threat changes how your opponent plays against you. They always have to at least respect it.
Yes, it is a threat, but also the likelihood of pulling off goblin toss. I reckon if you get success 1 in 10, you're doing a good job. Issues are if your opponent's got kick, he'll kick it deep so that the ball retriever can't reach the goblin. So that stops it dead in the water. Secondly, he'll set a bunch of players up around the 12-yard mark or the do I mean the 12-yard mark? Yeah, I do.
Do.
So that where the goblin lands, he's landing on players or near players.
Totally agree.
You've got to not eat him. It's a 5+ for the throw.
But it's there. And for a slow team like Orcs, having a 1 in 10, and I'd say you're maybe about right, 1 in 10. Having that is better than not having it.
Yeah. 40 team value, sit him on the bench, whatever.
They're really useful when they level up.
Sidestep.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just looking at what Robbo's doing here.
I like it.
Oh dear, Moo's been naughty. Yes, but Andy can get across and close that off reasonably easily.
I've seen Robbo play a lot with this team, and he's doing what he loves to do, which is push down one side with a lot of Dark Elves in attendance of the ball carrier. Not protect the ball carrier, yes, but not worry too much if you end up leaving the blitz because you've got dump off. And having a situation where you're going to be able to dump off and then put it to a much better placed player. He's got 1 player who's gone out the other wing, forcing Andy to take 2 players across to cover him. Love that move. And anybody who doesn't do that, pay attention to what Robbo's doing here. This is a really good move.
Oh, that's bad. Not only did he not chin the witch, but she's not even stunned. So she can reach the end zone with a single go for it, should she want to.
And with the lovely changing weather that we hadn't commented on for this half, that becomes that little bit easier. So potentially, Robbo could be looking at scoring next turn if Andy doesn't cover this off quickly.
Does Robbo want to score that early? Because that gives Andy loads of time to equalise.
Well, as I said at the start, if it was me, if I'm offered the score, I'll take it on any turn. Later is nice, but I'll take it on any turn and then simply look to turn Andy over with the wizard.
You've just seen an Aryan do it and thought, that looks cool.
No, but people have commented before that my playstyle seems to be exactly the same as an Aryan. So given how much of a stud he was in last night's game, I'm really pleased with that comparison.
Oh, heads up. Here we go. Come on.
Oh, now that's a blow for the Elves.
There you go.
That's not what we want to see. And no, referee, where were you? Disgraceful play.
Well, you can't see him because the other goats are in the way. And Willie Shakespeare just looks down at Stroker on the floor and goes, "That's how you do it." So.
Oh, good Lord. I'm just disgusted at this.
Frankfurter asks, do we think Andy's ill health is denting his play? No, I don't think so. Honestly, don't. He's not done anything real daft, and he's done quite a few elegant things. I think he's still all right.
Yeah, I don't think Andy's made any errors at all. I mean, in fact, the only real error that we pointed out was one Robbo made, and that even wasn't a massive one. And I'd say the only effect Andy's illness is going to have is on stamina, because you all know what it's like when you're as bunged up with a cold as he obviously is. And for anyone who hadn't heard him, Andy really is bunged up and nasty with a cold. Keeping the energy up is going to be tricky. So, kudos for Andy for playing it tonight. I think many people would have tried for a rearrange, but he's playing it, and I hope that it doesn't have an effect, because this is too much of a good final between two good coaches to be decided on one of them being ill.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Frankfurt is speculating on were those questionable piling on choices. I don't think so. High value elves, and Andy really needs to remove some elves to get an advantage. That's his best way to do it. It hasn't worked. He's 0 for 5 in attempts, but that's just unlucky. Doesn't mean he should stop.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Robbo's planning here. I think he could just be moving that ball carrier down towards the sideline, and again going for the, feel free, come in, do a risky hit on me, but I'm dumping off.
Oh, that's nice. Cat's just brought in a mouse and is now eating it. Gross.
Yeah, that's very kind of him.
He's eating you little bit. He's eating the whole thing, everything.
Well, I mean, waste not, want not.
Well, there's no mess to clean up, I suppose. He even licked the floor where it was sitting.
So, first of all, you're complaining that the cat's bringing something messy and disgusting in, and when the cat completely cleans it up for you, you're still calling him disgusting.
It's just not very nice, Poor little mouse. A little one.
Are you a vegetarian?
No.
Okay. You might want to ask the cow whether it felt very nice for your last steak. Whether it's cooked or moving, it's the same stuff.
Well, it's not my fault that cows are made of beef, is it? It's just that bad luck.
So, getting back to the game, this is really gutsy, brave play from Robbo. Normally, you would say, do not stack yourself against the sideline. You're going to get mass surfed, especially against someone like Andy, who loves a surf. But Robbo's been smart about this, and I think he's looking for scoring next turn. and he'll have done his calculations working out whether he thinks Andy can actually get him into a bad position. Hopefully, for Robbo's sake, he's done his number crunching correctly. And for those of you more of a chaos bent, we'll kind of be hoping he hasn't.
I'm trying to be partisan about this. I'm really fond of Robbo as well, so if Andy had got more guard, this would be more of a problem for Robbo. That's interesting.
He's going for the safety with the ball carrier, so he's not convinced that he can get it on the sideline and keep it there. Spreading them quite nicely. Again, I kind of like this. The one thing that Bash do not want is to be spread around the pitch. And it only takes one player, just like we've seen with Advocat, to draw off two defenders. Now you're defending on the other side, effectively a man down. And very nicely done. Although I hope he's done his calculation. I haven't sat and worked it out myself. I hope he has calculated it right, that he's not going to get his team horribly surfed now.
It's not as easy as it seems at first glance to surf loads of them, just because there's no guard down here, and two of these elves are strength 4. One of them's got sidestep. The frenzy goat's not in an ideal spot, as he's got he's flanked by both the strength 4 elves. So I'm guessing he's going to get one, but not more. And of course, the other risk is if Andy does commit to surfing, depending on how he tries it, if indeed he does, that often snaffles up personnel to do it. Oh, no, that's not very good news.
Do you think it was that critical? Ooh, that's not good news for the elf.
I only said it wasn't good news insofar as Ananas, of course, has jump up, and so Macho Man being on the floor has basically liberated her.
Absolutely.
It's not the end of the world. I mean, she could have dodged away anyway, I suppose.
Well, we've lost the movement busted dodge line elf for the remainder of the game. I'm not sure Robbo will be overly worried about that loss. I mean, any warm body on the pitch is useful, but that was the least useful of his players.
Yeah.
But as they say in other contexts, any port in a storm.
Oh, he's looking all hurt. What do you mean I'm expendable? Shh, there.
Now that's not what he wanted. It was a smart block using the Chaos Warrior simply because if Robbo had decided to stay and keep Aminya's shed covered, it would have meant going next to Moo. But Moo has managed to move all by himself. This is quite a shock.
He's been mostly quite a good boy today.
He has, hasn't he?
Right, so that's one elf pinned. Now, Andy won't be crazy about doing one die blocks, but he can't do much of an option there.
He's
got 2 dice in
surf.
He's got 2 dice into 1 for the surf here.
But he hasn't got a reroll. And if it goes wrong, you've just left an uncovered elf in your backfield.
This is true. Thing is, though, Robbo's run is so far back that he can't even get the halfway line. If you check his movement range out there, if the receivers are too deep, they're pretty much long bomb range or beyond.
Yep.
It depends what Andy does and how many elves fall over, I think.
I don't think Robbo was expecting Moo to come across. I think
I wouldn't have expected the 1-die block either.
The
Yeah, he's going for it. 2 into 1. I mean, this isn't insane, you know. Of course, that's not the frenzy goat.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, he hasn't
the
finished.
symbols are overlaying each other slightly there. And I kept getting in my head that was frenzy goat, but of course it isn't.
I don't like what he's done. Because now he's given Robbo the chance to block off Phil Graves, and he's got a much easier throw to Show. Show can get in from without a go for it.
There you go.
He's got a man coming in to cover it still, though, and he can still do this easily with the blitz.
Yeah, it's not bulletproof.
He just blocks. You block William Shakespeare.
Yeah, follow
Blitzer.
Yeah, I know.
Then you dodge out the other one, come in, use the blitz, clear it off, and then chuck it to Show. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And Robbo still has not burnt the wizard. If he goes in with a touchdown here, and he's in trouble. Not out, but in trouble. Not going to fall into the commentators' disaster from last time of reporting the game was over before the final turn. But certainly it would be, Andy would be favourite. Oh, nicely done there.
Right, he's got 7 squares to throw it, unless he doesn't go for it. So what's that? 4+?
I don't play enough tabletop to know these off the top of my head. I
No,
really rely on the computer simply to tell me. Sadly, as watching the game, I can't generate a pass.
I think it was a 4+, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and there we go. He's got it. It's just a go for it with a reroll away from going 1-0 up with a wizard. And is feeling so confident, he's even taking on vanity blocks.
Is Robbo considering not scoring?
And there we are. Touchdown in. 1-0 to the Darkies. And that wizard now is a very big deal.
Still got the wizard, though. And he's not going to be comfortable.
Oh, and 2 of the knocked out elves are back.
Kind of academic. This gives him, what, 10?
Yes. And I wouldn't say academic. I'd say, there's a huge difference between 10 and 8, even when you've got a wizard in your pocket. Because you're going to be facing 4 blocks.
It's 10 and 9. There was only 2 KO'd, wasn't there? Was there?
3. 2 came back.
Just trying to think what's Andy going to do here now. See, against a wizard with 5 turns to score.
It's tricky. And Robbo still has the leaping wrestle strip baller. Better news for Andy. He's still got 2 rerolls in his pocket. But still, it's not looking nice. I would not want to be Andy at the moment. And of course, Andy knows all the dangers because he's one of the best Dark Elf coaches around, even though he's played Chaos for a long time now. And he is an extremely good Dark Elf coach and knows just how difficult this is now going to be.
It depends what happens. If we get a string of removals, that's going to help him out. If he doesn't, I'd fancy Robert to hold on to this 1-0 lead.
Yeah. I think that wizard's going to be critical. Almost certainly it's going to be a lightning bolt on a ball carrier. And it's going to be, does it fizzle? And if not, where does the ball go? It could be a big deciding factor here. That's not bad for Andy. It's not terrible. He's gonna be able to get a little bit more aggressive here. He's going to be forwards right on turn 12, right up to his own half. And when you're pushing to score a touchdown, that's a good thing. The slightly negative point is that if he fumbles the recovery, it goes from being very good to extremely shit.
Basically, Hotspur, as we've had, is that the 7th pylon? And only one of them's worked. The other casualty is an elf fell over. Well, actually, no, 2 have worked, didn't they? Because we appoed 1.
Yes.
So, yeah, below average success on casualtying. Plenty knocked over, not many hurt. Yeah, it's a pain in the arse, Robbo's team, for the curse to do with him. And the 2 wide players both sidestep. Yeah, no, answer that. That's right. The Apo was which fell over whilst leaping.
I think the nice thing from the 2 finals that we've seen in tonight and yesterday is that there's a lot of negativity in the persistent leagues towards it being unfair because Bash have a massive advantage. And we've seen, although last night's wasn't a persistent league, but we've seen 2 very good Agi teams doing extremely well, and hopefully this will encourage less players to play boring Bash and more players to play interesting teams, especially in UKBBL, because we don't want to see leagues entirely packed with the same kind of teams. So I'm kind of sneakily hoping that we see an Agi win here, though both Robbo and Andy, as I said before, fantastic coaches. Both of them would deserve to win this.
I don't buy into strength teams being OP in any way.
I'd actually agree with you, but I don't think that's the general perception. I think there is a general perception from a lot of people that in a persistent league,
if you took the winners of competitions like Champ Ladder, like OCC, UKBBL, Rebel, etc., I think you'd probably get a fairly even spread.
I think you're probably right. And I think it is relatively well balanced. We haven't seen yet how this bankroll is really going to affect things later on in the persistent league. Some people argue it's going to be worse for Bash. Some people argue it's going to be worse for Agi. We haven't had much evidence. But I think there is more of a vocal group who, particularly I think in UKBBL, will argue that Bash is too strong in a persistent league. And whilst I'm one of the players who doesn't like seeing too much Bash, I don't think they're that overpowered. I think you can play other teams perfectly competitively. And maybe having an Agi win this season might just help reinforce that point. Oh, helicopter. What's happened? No, helicopter, that hurts. Is Andy going to use the Apoth? Of course he is.
Oh, thank God it worked. Thing is, though, for the leagues that we're familiar with, plenty of times they're won by agility teams.
Completely agree. I'm 100% behind you. I don't think that it's correct that
I mean, if you're gonna go down past results, you would conclude nerf wood elves is what I would probably say.
No, I absolutely agree. But I would say it's not the general perception.
But a viewpoint being popular doesn't make it correct.
Exactly right. Completely agree. We'll avoid the obvious segue into politics at that point.
Yeah.
So, very finely positioned at the moment. Andy's in a nice position. He's protecting the ball carrier quite nicely. He's got a nice little screen going on and has tried to make sure that Robbo can't use a very effective fireball and that the lightning bolt would have limited effect. There's only so much you can do to protect. It's certainly not bulletproof, but it's, given what he's got, it's pretty good positioning. Oh, that's a big KO. Pom is a dangerous player, being sidestep, diving tackle. And let's face it, this is the key drive, so a knockout is almost as good as a casualty at this point.
This is hard work for the Chaos lads because they don't have bags of tackle. They've got some, so they've got to be rapier-like and start assassinating elves one by one to get them out of the way. And if they don't, all this blodge sidestep enhanced by the strength business, you can't get past them. This is why when questions were asked about piling on, should you? I really would, because if numbers remain at parity, Robert can just stand there all day.
Oh, we had a bit of a naughty stamp going on there, but he managed to stamp right onto his codpiece. No effect. I think the referee thought it was a bit of a giggle, didn't send him off.
By come, Ted's right. There's a hell of a lot of people watching Blood Bowl streams right now.
I think the legend of Zunk has spread far and wide, and they've come to see you. Call
Most of them aren't watching us. It's Canur that's got.
They're all watching us, Zunk.
Oh
Every
yeah.
single one of them.
And why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
Oh, you see the fireball, man? Probably
not. No. I think Robbo's smart enough to know that this is not the time to be risking a fireball. That you're going to be wanting to lightning bolt. Unless Andy really leaves you a juicy target, and he hasn't left a juicy enough target. Because once you use that wizard, you absolutely have to either A, recover the ball, or B, make sure that Andy can't recover the ball. Otherwise, you've just blown your biggest weapon for no effect. What we're seeing is the absolutely predictable, tiny bit boring, but predictable retreat backwards in column. And because he's down on numbers, you use a sidestepper to form a one-man column. Still the weakest point of the column, but better than nothing. I think that stamp from Andy, and is he going to go for a ridiculous blitz? No, he's just going to get him out.
Still got a amount of rerolls. You can't use that many.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Oh, it's a stamp. Oh. Bit of a revenge one there. You tread on my codpiece, I'll tread on your horn. I kind of like that one.
I'm staring at the pitch, thinking, what would I do if I was coaching Black Star Crusade? And been in this position before once or twice. You've basically got to keep blitzing away, and then you make a hole or go around it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big one.
Got one.
Got a biggie as well. That's the dangerous witch elf.
Peeled that pineapple.
But after this, there's only 2 turns. And we're getting into the very easy lightning bolt, and you aren't getting anywhere in 2 turns territory.
Yes, we are. And it's very helpful that Moo decided to move there.
Yes, he really has been an obedient little Minotaur, I think.
Well, he knows his number's nearly up, so he's knocking himself out to be indispensable.
I think that tomorrow morning we could be waking up with Davo's win has been tarnished by the fact that it turned out Wild Animal was bugged. Because Moo just isn't wild animaling.
He did once. Just
Are
once.
you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure he just didn't move it and choose to not move him?
Well, I was going to say he's been flawless, but then he did with the wild animal and therefore wasn't. So, yeah.
No, Moo genuinely has outperformed expectations in pretty much the same way that the piling ons have underperformed expectations.
Farron corrected me. Yeah, twice in the first half.
I still prefer my controversy, even though it has the minor problem of not being true. But in today's world, who cares whether it's true or not? It's just have fun.
Well, as soon as it becomes a meme, people believe it. So
Exactly. I just need some orange guy to tweet it at 2 o'clock in the morning and it becomes true. So, Andy has committed now 2 turns. And the ball carrier is not anywhere close to the end zone.
oh, he's in range. He just needs to make a hole.
Oh,
dear.
some horrible dice there from Robbo.
Well, you can't get yellow ones all the time, even if you are playing elves.
He is in range, yes, but he's not currently close. If anything goes wrong, like somebody drops a very big lightning bolt on his head, and things could get a bit sticky very quickly.
Just going to make a very quick cup of tea. I'll be 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Oh, how can you do that at this time?
I still see the screen. I'm just not talking to you.
Critical things going on, and Zunk's love for his brew has taken over. I don't know, Stream, can you think of anything more inappropriate to rush off and do at turn 15 in a crucial game? Making a cup of tea is pretty high on the list of inappropriate things to do at this point. Ceramol, I think you've got the latest strap line for people to use in advertising. Tea is key. Perhaps you can get a job at Tetley or PG. And Fiction, we were talking about inappropriate things to do, not appropriate things to do at this point. So the elves desperately just trying to screen off. Oh no, the failure there due to the guy having tackle. It's a bad time to roll a 1. They were really just trying to hold the ball carrier where he was. There's a weakness now though on Chaos left, Elf right. But I think that'll be where Andy's looking to attack. Of course, Zunk's missing all of this with his brutastic job. But we're probably going to see an attack here down the Chaos left, Elf right. Blocking away Klingon at the start and leaving a fairly large gap there. Well, we've seen that, but he's only got the push. I'm kind of surprised that he went for it with that player, but let's see what he's got planned.
Oh, we're back.
Welcome back
Right.
with your brew. I think Andy's just made a mistake.
In what?
Well, he's kind of now blocked off going down the side that he started on due to where he put Matt following up. So he now appears to be attacking down the other side instead, which begs the question, why did he do that block on the other side first? Was it actually an unnecessary one?
No, he's going to run beyond Moo and cage up just northeast of Moo.
He is now, yes. But his first attack was to go down the other side and take on Klingon, which would have opened up that entire flank.
What kind of fruit's a Klingon then?
I believe it's one of the ones that isn't actually a fruit because he probably ran out.
Crazy Swedes. Why did he follow up with Macho Man? I'm guessing he's just wanted to knock him over and mark him, and didn't get the knockdown, so he's just marking him, making him roll the dice.
Yeah.
Oh right, a Klingon is apparently similar to a pear.
Oh, is it?
I did not know that.
Nor did I. Wow. It's not something you find in your nose then. Oh, that could get embarrassing for British people abroad.
Well, you are British people aboard, does it?
Well, to be fair, I'm not in France, and the other point, I've never come across anyone asking, "Do you have a Klingon?"
What's he doing? Right, okay. Multiple scoring threats. Canode be proud.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this is good play from Andy. The multiple scoring threat. He knows the lightning bolt is coming next turn, and that is absolutely clear. He's just trying now to protect it as much as possible. He's positioned it so it can't go bouncing accidentally off another player and going off the pitch. In fact, there's no other players around it, so it's only going to go one square maximum. Oh, another KO there. Dark Elves starting to run out of players here. Critically, those Witch Elves aren't around with their lovely leap.
Lil Baz asks, have we ever thought about streaming a cookery show? Ironically, I did spend most of the day stoving over a hot slave, and I now have 8 portions of chili and 8 portions of spaghetti sauce.
You were stoving over a hot slave?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that sounds slightly saucier than it should.
Oh,
here it is, and it's been successful. KOing the guy with sure hands. So there goes the sure hands handoff recovery.
Yeah, but I think Andy kind of expected that he'd be either stunned, KO'd, whatever. And I think Jason Waterfalls is basically on hand to pick the ball up and hand it to a new recipient.
However, he's got a bit of a problem that, I mean, your shed is not where he wants him to be, because at the moment, I think we're going to see Banan dancing through, picking up that ball and throwing it downfield to nobody. That's what Robbo's setting up here. You can see Banan coming out directly on the diagonal so that he's next to Major Lee Small, and then on the opposite diagonal, he's combining it with the blitz to make it even easier. Oh, smart move, Robbo. This is why you're in the final, and I'm not. He's opened that up beautifully. He can now do this with Klingon. Klingon can be the hero.
Some sort of pair.
He hasn't got dodge, which is a slight concern, but then he's going through tackle once, so their dodge would have been irrelevant anyway. It's just 3 2+s here. Oh, it's failed.
Now has Klingon fucked it up? Oh, is the reroll?
No, he's re-rolled. He's picked it up, and now it's just a throw. You just throw this downfield where Andy cannot pick it up.
So he doesn't fumble it.
Yeah, there's no reroll left. This is high stakes. He's done it. He has done it. There is nothing Andy can do.
Ah, congratulations to Robbo.
That's
That was,
cracking turn. Really
mission
well
accomplished.
played. I think even Andy, once he gets over the disappointment, will admit that was a very nice play to finish on.
I'm guessing.
I'm so happy.
I'm guessing Coleman's a little partisan here.
Yeah, it's. I think the commentary team has been nicely one slightly more towards Andy, one slightly more towards Robbo, and then we've got Commissioner Coleman and his complete inappropriate bias.
A new winner. Someone asked the other day, when's the last time an elf team did anything in the UKBBL? Well, now we know.
It's now. That's
It's
the
today.
answer. This second, as we speak, still doing it. And very good play. And again, I'm sure there's not many new players left to come in the stream this late in the season, but were there any? The smart move there was not just the opening up to be able to get an easier route through to get the ball. It was then the throwing it to absolutely nobody at the end, which is a play that less experienced players always forget to do. Just chuck it to no
Did
one.
they? I thought
Yes.
punting was fairly well established.
I think it's just we've been around too long, son. We're old hands. We think it's obvious, but actually
guess
a lot of people don't.
I've watched a lot of Blood Bowl the last 2 months.
Yeah.
A lot of Blood Bowl. Probably more Blood Bowl than I've played in the last 5 years. Yeah, Gav, so cake is cut and the champagne is popped, is it?
I like the irony of Andy being beaten by Dark Elves. that is all the sweeter. For those of you that don't know, Andy holds the record for the number of wins in the UKBBL titles, I should say, and the majority of those are with Dark Elves, which is arguably Andy's best race to play with.
Oh, I think without a doubt.
Well, you say that, but Champ Ladder expeditions with Dark Elves have just been a big pile of frustration and despair. And Chaos teams, that's the way forward.
That's because he's spent a lot of his time playing with Chaos lately, so he's out of practice with the Dark Elves. He's got it in his head that he's better with Chaos, but you know.
Oh dear.
I'd agree. I think he's extremely good with both, but I'd say he is that little bit better with Dark Elves. It's Dark Elves take a really good player to play well. I mean, you've seen one really good player doing it tonight with Robbo, and Andy, I'd say, is the master of surfing and use of the Witch Elves and Dark Elf positioning.
I think one factor is that this Chaos team is some way off the state you'd really like it to be in. I know many coaches can say that, but with Chaos teams, it is reasonably realistic to get them into. You remember Slap My Pitch Up? Slap My Pitch Up, way better team than this.
Yeah, and I think it's also a nice point to remember for people who play agility teams who lose some key players. Robbo's team took some nasty injuries not so long ago. There were some really good players who got removed from the team. But just because you lose some of your key players doesn't mean the other ones can't go on to win the title, which is exactly what we've seen. So congratulations, Robbo. Cracking game, really good final, much more entertaining than the 1-0 scoreline suggests. I think we've had 2 quality finals in 2 nights.
Fant Fox, yes, you're absolutely right. Just another 200-star play points, I reckon, mate. And we have had 2 quality finals. That was a good game. I'm certain that my boy is going to have been frustrated.
If you look at Andy's mouse work now, I think Andy's pointing out at the moment that he only got 2 casualties.
Yeah, the casualties were certainly not there. I mean, he did pretty well on the KOs, but it wasn't getting the casualties tonight. But it shouldn't be the be all and end all for a team on where you get the casualties you win. When you don't get the casualties, you don't.
16 failures on piling on. Well, there you go. Overrated skill.
Yeah, it wasn't. It certainly wasn't on form tonight. And overall, did Robbo get the better of the dice? Absolutely, I'd say so. He did get the better of the dice. Not stunningly so. Robbo's dice weren't out of this world. Andy's were slightly below par. But I think that final was decided on some very good plays. Really high quality game.
Yes, we must not forget to congratulate Robbo and not make it all about Andy, because he wouldn't want that. What am I saying?
Is that the first Swedish winner of the UKBBL, Gav?
Where's Anton from? Is he Danish? I think probably yes. I'd have to check.
Inarian asks, when does season 8 start? You mean season 9? Season 9 is in... Is it a week? Or is it a few weeks? VGP was talking about it last night. I can't remember what he said.